Is there a problem with Manchester's building boom? Many people say the buildings are of an off-the-peg design and all look the same. And they say there's not enough diversity in the range of architects chosen. I went on a circular bike tour around the edge of the city centre, riding through central Manchester and Salford, capturing the buildings I found along the way. I researched the height, year of construction, and the name of the architects of each building. I made a list, which we'll see later. Is there one architectural practice that dominates? Hello and willkommen! Welcome to AidanEyewitness. And I'm standing next to my favourite place, next to a very noisy road. In fact, I'm here in front of Piccadilly Station. And a minute's walk from Piccadilly Station, our first project has a contrast of brick and white on the exterior. These are the Echo Street student residences under construction, set for completion in 2026. There are 3 towers, the tallest 89 metres, and the architects are Shepherd Robson. We make our way along Charles Street next to the car park and past Retro Bar, the former swinging sporran, now set for demolition. Going past the tallest building in Circle Square on the former BBC site. It's called Circle Square Affinity Living. It opened in 2021 and was designed by Field and Clegg Bradley Studios. Now we cross the busy Oxford Road, restricted to buses, cycles and black cabs for most of the day and evening. Well, I've just got off the bike, walking along Hume Street, and now we can see the tall tower of the Downing co-living development. This tall high-tech tower rises next to the River Medlock. It's Artisan Heights, completed 2020. Architects Simpson Huff. And just nearby, Bridgewater Heights, completed 2012, by Hodder and Partners. We passed by the remains of the Hotspur building after the fire that took place on the evening of Monday, the 23rd of June, 2025. And as we can see, substantial sections of the facade remain. Hodder and Partners' plans were to incorporate it into a high-rise student tower, and hopefully they still are. Across Cambridge Street is number 1 Cambridge Street, also by Hodder and Partners, completed in 2016. Not far away is, or should that be Square Gardens, the high-rise co-living development by Downing, set for completion during 2025. Designed by Simpson Huff and Partners, the tower is 139 metres tall. Here's the Hotspur from the west side. Residents at number 1 Cambridge Street had to be evacuated when the fire broke out. Can you imagine a new tower with a reconstructed Hotspur building at its base? I can. We passed through Tony Wilson Place, and this is the site of the demolished number 1 City Road, now a car park. That's River Street Tower, another student residence completed in 2020. Architects Simpson Huff. Now this is a good vantage point. Just next to Albion Street, just not far from home. We have 4 buildings visible. The first one is Axis, and that was designed by 5+ Architects and John Matthews Architects. Next to that is Viaduct 1, Simpson Huff. The Beetham Tower, 2007. Well, that was, but then it was called Ian Simpson Architects. It later became Simpson Huff. And then the smaller one there, that is Stay City Apartments, also designed by Simpson Huff. Though I didn't make it to Whitworth Street West, I just wanted to mention Roger Stevenson's Hacienda Apartments, built in 2003. This is Contour 1. I've tracked its progress, and it's also by Simpson Huff. 154 metres tall, Contour 1 is taking shape with its bevelled corners, similar to the planned Viaduct 2 tower. Yeah, I am wearing my helmet, of course. It's madness not to. Deansgate Square South Tower is still the tallest of the apartment towers at 201 metres, the tallest in Manchester. And then we see Contour 2, which is moving ahead. On the southern edge of the Great Jackson Street area, 360, The Blade, Elizabeth Tower, 154, 154 and 153 metres respectively, all of them by Simpson Huff. Close to here, the Lighthouse Tower is planned. It's set to be 213 metres tall, also by Simpson Huff. The developer of what's called the Great Jackson Street Skyscraper District is Renacre. It appears a decision was made to use one architect, but there is one exception. We can see Contour 2 and the 4 Deansgate Square towers. But what's this rising up next to them? And this, under construction next to the very nice cycle lane and flower beds, is Fusion by architects, or what are they called again? Oh yes, Corstorphine and Wright.
Fusion is another student tower.
Yep, this is my list. As you can see, it's quite windy today actually.
Fusion stands on Chester Road. Actually, it's the junction of Chester Road and Deansgate. The Beetham and Stay City are just to the left. Fusion, I believe, will be 90 metres tall. Across Chester Road is Castle Wharf, an apartment building on the site of the demolished Key Bar by Roger Stevenson. Castle Wharf is by OMI Architects. Let's compare this view to my view of the Beetham under construction 20 years ago in 2005. Now we're heading along Edgerton Street, the continuation of the Mancunian Way, A57M, to the bridge across the Irwell carrying Regent Road, from where I've tracked the construction of Vista River Gardens, the two towers reaching skyward. Architects Simpson Huff. And yes, we do notice a strong similarity to the design of the Deansgate Square Towers we saw earlier. Now let's go round to the other bridge across the Irwell.
And just in the distance we can see the Great Northern Tower. That's more in the centre of the city. And over here the next one was going to look at the two Union co-living towers and a few more along the river.
That's the Great Northern Tower, completed in 2007, designed by Assail Architecture. And for reference, we can see how far we've come. The Echo Street Towers, our starting point, are in the distance. Now we continue along the Inner Ring Road into Salford. Standing next to the Irwell on the Manchester side, the Union co-living towers were designed by Denton Corker Marshall. Phase 1 and 2 were completed around 2024. They stand on the site of the former Granada Studios. If only Tony Wilson could see all this now. I've got a feeling he'd like it. This is the second Novella Tower, due for completion in 2026, with the black exterior of Tower 1 just on the right. Both are by Hawkins Brown Architects. Further along the river we can see Affinity Living Riverview Tower with its distinctive pod on the top, and to its left 4 New Bailey by Make Architects, based in London, Hong Kong and Sydney. On the corner of Trinity Way and Irwell Street, this is Eden, dubbed the Green Office Building, also by Make Architects, completed in 2024. It's 49 metres tall. There's Affinity Living Riverview Tower again, and it was designed by Denton Corker Marshall. And straight on is the Manchester Civil Justice Centre, also by Denton Corker Marshall. Quite tall, 72.5 metres, completed in 2007. They once licensed some of my photographs of the building during its construction. Next, from Chapel Street, the two completed Collier's Yard residential towers, with 100 Greengate in the middle. That's Cortland at Collier's Yard, 153 metres tall, and Bankside, 129 metres, both designed by Denton Corker Marshall. Parkside has yet to be built. 100 Greengate, aka Anaconda Cut, is 131 metres tall. OMI Architects designed it. Next to Abito Apartments, designed by BDP, completed 2007, Embankment Exchange was a stalled project originally by Liverpool-based developer Elliott. Legacy Developments took it over, completing in 2024. Architects Geoffrey Bell and Faulkner Chester Hall. Proceeding past the Greengate residential development, and I could find no information on this project, we reach North Tower, former Highland House, which I included in my primary school project on Manchester architecture. Completed in 1966, 80 metres tall, Leach, Rhodes and Walker, who are still going after more than 60 years. Yes, in those days, at the age of 10, I wanted to become an architect, but then I wanted to become an astronaut. Crossing into Manchester now, and we see the New Vic apartments rising above the facade of Victoria Station. A station that's fascinating both for what's above the ground and below it. On the right is the highly regarded Stoller Hall, part of Cheetham School of Music, finally completed in 2017. It's by Roger Stevenson Architects. We'll continue our tour along the eastern edge of the city centre in the morning, when the sun's shining from the east. Seen from Victoria Station Platform 3, there's another new tower. We'll find out the name and architect on the next leg. Oh, and there's our train via Oxford Road and Piccadilly back to home base.
I'm back here at Victoria Station for the second leg of the tour around the periphery of Manchester city centre. I came up on the direct train from Piccadilly. It's the morning and it's sunny. The weather forecast said it was going to be cloudy, but quite often it's wrong.
Standing on the former car park between Victoria Station and Corporation Street, it's New Victoria Apartments, with 2 blocks, 85 metres tall. They were designed by Shepherd Robson Architects. Next to Charter Street Ragged School, once one of the poorest areas of Manchester, just beyond the railway bridge, it's Victoria Riverside, a very large residential development. Now that name makes you think of London and the wide River Thames, but these are next to the narrow, but nowadays quite clean, River Irk. Architects Hawkins Brown. In Angel Meadow Park, there's my photo of St Michael's flags, which I took in 1998. Today, instead of flagstones, there's grass, and my photo of the steps, 25 years ago and now. These 2 residential buildings are called Meadowside, 22-storey gate and 17-storey style, designed by Chapman Taylor, completed in 2021. 4 Angel Square, an office building, we've not seen many of those so far, designed by Simpson Huff, 11 stories, on the site of the demolished pub. Lest we forget. And over to the right, New Century House and the CIS Tower, 118 metres, designed by Gordon Tate and G.S. Hay, built in 1962. Revised development plans have just been announced, and let's not forget, Manchester had quite a few tall towers in the 1960s. And that's the magnificent 1 Angel Square, designed by architects 3D Reed for the Co-op, completed in 2013. On Rochdale Road we have Moda Angel Gardens, rental apartments, designed by Fuse Studios and House Collective. Further up Rochdale Road, Skylane Central by developer West Properties, 2006. I could find no named architect. On the right, Swan House by Simpson Huff and Partners, 98.4 metres tall. The attractive building with arches I featured in a previous video is called Poplin and contains rental apartments. It was designed by Tim Groom Architects and Youth Studios. On Great Ancoats Street, opposite the Daily Express building, 1939, architect Owen Williams, we have the site of the upside-down office tower planned by developers Solar, 18 stories tall, designed by Howell Architects. Now it clouded over on Wednesday, so I came back to reshoot the final buildings on the following Saturday. This is number 1 Port Street, a luxury apartment development designed by Simpson Huff and Partners. The tower is 100 metres tall. Further along Great Ancoats Street, the Stockton's furniture site, which isn't going to look like this for much longer. The new tower will be 47 stories tall, designed by Simpson Huff. Oxygen Towers is 110 metres tall, completed 2021. It's by 5+ Architects, and next to it, the 25-storey Victoria House, another apartment building, designed by Simpson Huff. The Jenga-esque 13-storey Leonardo Hotel was designed by Stevenson Hamilton Risley Studio, the successor to the architectural practice of Roger Stevenson, OBE, whose work we've seen. Here it is during and after construction. The Castings, another rental apartment building I featured in a previous video, was designed by Callison RTKL and Shepherd Robson. And the final building on our tour, just east of Piccadilly Station, currently under construction, is the Fairfax, a BTR development, build to rent, by Olympian Homes, with 2 towers of 23 and 29 stories. Can you guess the architect? It's 5+ Architects.
Well, I'm back here at Piccadilly Station
So I'm going to head back to home base now, and then I'm going to compile the final list of buildings and their architects, so we will get an overview.
Just one more building to add to the list. This is 111 Piccadilly. It was built in the 1960s and originally known as Rodwell Tower, just to show that there were plenty of tall buildings in Manchester long before the present building boom.
So that's it, 56 buildings, far more than I was planning to cover. And there are still plenty more further into the centre and further out as well. It's not scientific, these are just the ones I came across on my tour. But around the edge of the city centre, well, that's where most of the new construction is taking place. Plus a few in the centre, where you'll find Manchester's large number of magnificent historic buildings, many of them renovated. Now, what's striking about the list is the large number of apartment buildings with thousands of newly built residential units available. People ask, who's going to live in these buildings? Well, similar people to the ones who are living in the already completed buildings, many of which are full. These are young or youngish professionals on good salaries, many of them couples. With two salaries makes it easier to afford the high rents. And there are investors too, from the UK and abroad, and plenty of students from abroad as well, studying here and paying high fees. Most of the apartments at number 1 Port Street have already been sold, even though it's not completed yet. So this is perhaps the biggest revolution we can see in recent years. I call it the city centre residential revolution. I think there's a diversity of styles. They don't all look exactly the same, although a few do. Not every building is an architectural masterpiece. There is quite a diversity of architects, past and present. Actually, quite a bit more than I was expecting, with many familiar names. A few come up more than once. There are 2 projects by Hawkins Brown, 2 by OMI, 3 by Shepherd Robson, 3 by Hodder, 3 by Roger Stevenson, 3 by 5+, 5 by Denton Corker Marshall, and 19 projects by Simpson Huff. I already have plans for a follow-up video in which I will compare the skyline of Manchester to Chicago and Frankfurt, with a bit about the architects of those buildings, and I intend to look a little more into, let's say, the whys and wherefores of what's happening in Manchester. I think with this video I produced quite a valuable survey of buildings around the periphery of the city centre, past, present and future, and the architects behind them. So I hope you found it interesting and enjoyable to watch.
You can now support the Aidan Eyewitness channel through channel memberships, access videos early, use these emojis I designed, and other benefits. Click join below.